What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Spectator Mode Podcast, episode 29, this Saturday, August 31st, 2019. And just like last week, we've got a full house again, which is great because you don't have to listen to me talk for an hour. You got Karl back here again. What's up, Karl?
Yeah, not much. Just getting ready for things, events, and other stuff. You know, it's starting to become the busy season for me, so yeah.
Fair
It's
enough.
gonna be crazy for the next couple of weeks.
Diego's back as well
Yeah, as always.
with a new mic.
Yeah, I hopefully sound a little bit better right now. Picked up a Blue Yeti. I don't know how I'm doing on background noise, but I think I've calibrated enough to where it's gonna be fine.
We're going to work with that. We'll get you a mic arm, maybe even better.
Yeah, I've got an arm. I got a pop filter. Like I have the setup. It's just I have to like do software stuff to get like a noise gate going, things like that.
All
But
right.
it should be fine for now. I don't know.
And Rob is back again.
What's going on, fellas?
2 times in a row. This is fantastic, guys. Like I said, full house is here. We've got a lot of topics to talk about, but of course, every show we do the same thing. We ask our podcasters, our friends, our compadres, what have they been playing as of this last week? Rob, you get to go first.
All right. Well, appreciate the motorcycle driving by. But today I've been getting into Control a lot. Picked that up yesterday. It's a ton of fun. I've been doing that. I've also been getting into Minecraft again, which is I thought never would happen, but it's back. I found my old PC key sitting in my Gmail inbox way at the bottom. And so I was like, just download it again. And now I'm once again addicted. I've been playing multiple times a week, and it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Wait, so is this the pre-Windows version? So is this the Java version? Is that even a thing anymore?
Yeah, it still is, surprisingly enough. I had a Java key from like 6 years ago that was just like I still had like the security email in my inbox, so I was like, maybe it still works, and I ended up downloading it again. I was like, yeah, sweet. And then they also gave me the Windows 10 version for free too, so I was like, oh, cool. So yeah, I've been playing a ton of that.
That's pretty cool. Mace, I know you said this is starting to be the busy season for you. Have you been playing anything since we last talked?
I have been playing things, but the game that I couldn't name last week, yeah, it was Control.
Yeah,
I got an early copy, so it was just one of those things of like, hey, I can play it before everybody else.
Yo, so we're going to
What I've
have
been doing
4
on the secret.
people on the show talking about Control, which is going to be our next topic. This is going to be good. So outside of Control, that's it? Not that I blame you.
Pretty much. That's the only other thing I've been able to sort of have time to play.
Speaking of Control, I also have been playing this game, but I've been doing more of benchmarking and testing it out on various systems because the technology in the game, as people know, it uses NVIDIA's RTX. So I've been playing with that. Been trying to get it running properly on a GTX 1080 Ti with 60 frames per second and at 4K. And did play some of the game. I think I'm like almost halfway through. It's a fun game. It's not very long, but it's a fun game. I really enjoy it. And outside of that, I went back to play more Remnant from the Ashes because I wanted to. I beat the game, but before I go to the next game or new game, I want to go make sure I killed off all the bosses. Because again, one of the cool things about that game is you have branching paths in a world. So some worlds will have 2 or 3 bosses in there. Some optional, some not. So I'm going through to make sure I get all those so I can get all the boss weapons. And actually, outside of that, I actually jumped into a game of Street Fighter V and realized why I stopped playing it.
Hey.
So I stopped playing it again. Like, oh, this is why I stopped playing this game. And while I haven't played it, I did watch the deep dive for Cyberpunk 2077. And I watched it on the 4K TV, and I just sat there and I just drooled like, yes. Can it be April yet? Please.
Okay,
be
so Keith,
April.
I missed this gameplay demo. I haven't seen it yet. Anything of note that I should know? Like, is it worth? It's like 15 minutes, right? Or it's not like super long.
So it's 15 minutes, and what it does, it shows you 2 different scenarios. So they break down 2 of the classes, pre-built class you can check out, play as. They also give you a look at the customization system, the life pathing system, which is basically different story progressions. Showed off some of the travel on the motorcycle, and gave us some ways of how the two classes, Netrunner, which is more of a stealth, manipulative, taking advantage of the environment, taking advantage of hacking, whatnot, works. And then Strong Solo, which is basically the power fantasy, going in with gun blazing, kicking everybody's butt. But it's 15 minutes. It's definitely worth the watch.
They show Keanu at all.
They did actually.
For a couple of seconds.
Oh, nice. All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah,
The-
he like
the show
kinda
is
hops
back.
in towards the back a little bit, and he's like sprinkled throughout.
They do talk about him in the game a little bit, and there's also I wrote an article about it. There's also a deep dive Q&A, which is an hour and 15 minutes. Definitely check that out. If you don't watch the 15-minute one, watch that one. It talks about a lot of stuff.
Check those out. Yeah.
And you're up next, so the floor is yours.
All right, I got some stories, fellas. I
Uh-oh.
got banned from PlayStation Network.
Oh shoot! How did you do that?
So this happened at the beginning of this week. All right, I was at school. I woke up and I start going through my email on my phone, and I get an email from PayPal, which is weird because I don't use PayPal for anything. And it said all it says is your business contract with Sony Interactive Entertainment has been terminated. And I'm like, my PayPal is not even like linked to my PSN anymore. I don't know what the deal is. So I think nothing of it. Then like an hour later, I'm like browsing Reddit, seeing all the gaming news for the day, and I just get a hunch to check my PlayStation email. It's not the same as my like daily email. It's an old email address. So I log in. This is around 10 a.m. and I see 4 emails from around 6:30 that morning from PlayStation Network. First 3 were all variations of funds have been added to your account. The fourth one was even scarier. It was your sign-in ID has been changed.
Oh boy!
So someone got into my account, and I look up Sony support's phone number. They were not open or they were closed that day or something. Luckily, their live chat was there, and I'm like, hey, I didn't change my sign-in ID, and they're like, okay, just tell us your previous purchases, your name, or all that stuff. They verified it was me. And then they said, did you by any chance activate any child accounts under your master account? And I'm like, no. Turns out they had opened like 3 or 4 like sub accounts and were using my payment info and stuff to buy games on those accounts, which is not good.
Oof.
So because they did that, they elevated it to a specialist team. So I had to wait like 2 days before I got access to my PlayStation Network account. They had banned me as a precaution because they noticed that it wasn't like making those purchases, like opening a bunch of sub accounts and buying a bunch of things is kind of suspicious behavior. So good for them on doing that. But I had no access to my PS4 for like 2 days. Like you can't even watch Netflix without a PSN login.
Nope, you can't do
Really
jack,
weird.
which is one of the reasons why I hate Xbox Live and PlayStation Network.
So weird.
You can't do anything. But I'm glad you got your account back.
Luckily, I had Trails of Cold Steel. Still doing that every week. That's an offline game. I actually calculated because Cold Steel 3 is out in the end of October, and I'm still working through 1, and I have 2 just ready. But I looked up like the average length of those games, and I'm a little over halfway. They're like 60 to 80 hours.
Yeah,
each.
yeah, they take a long time.
But I've got about 30 hours left in 1, and then I have the entirety of 2, and I like divvied it up. I need to play like an hour and a half to 2 hours a day if I want to be ready for Cold Steel 3.
And that's if you're not a completionist.
At this point, I always do side quests, but now I'm like I just don't have time.
Yeah, because if you do side quests, that game's going to like 100 hours easy.
Oh yeah, but like I've been playing almost every day because I really do love this series. But that's I haven't played in a couple days, so I've been busy with some other things.
Such as?
So there's a game that came out a couple years ago that was right up my alley, but I never played it. It won a ton of awards. It's a little indie game, and now that I beat it in one sitting with a friend who normally doesn't play video games, I got her to sit down and play it with me. And now that I've finished it, I'm very, very sad I didn't play Her Story when it launched 4 years ago.
What is
that
it?
is a
What is it? Her Story.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about this one. Yes, I've not played it either.
Masterpiece. Phenomenal video game. Have any of you played it?
Nope, only heard of it.
None of
Never
us?
touched it.
Yeah, I just watched it.
It's so it's a genius
Wasn't
game.
it from the person who worked on it? He worked on Silent Hill.
Yeah, Shattered Memories, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I played Her Story because his new game is out. It's the follow-up. It's called Telling Lies. It's the same kind of thing.
Oh,
You go
yeah.
through
Is that
footage.
what everybody's talking about? I kept seeing
and
everybody
I played
talking
an
about
hour
the
of that
game.
too, but like I went into Her Story first. Man,
Okay.
those are some good games. Like, don't sleep on those games. Her Story especially goes places I did not expect it to go. And like I took notes like on pen and paper. I had like 2 pages of notes by the time it was over. It was such a great experience. That game's so genius because like it's literally just searching with keywords for like things that come up in the interview. But like because it's completely non-linear and like you can go on different leads at different times, like some clips that I saw at the beginning of my playthrough, like you guys might not see them until the very end of your playthrough. Like I saw like I went through it all chronologically after I found like most of the clips, and I didn't even get them all. Some of the things that I saw, like my first 5 or 6 searches were like from the last like 1 minute of footage. So like I technically saw the ending, but it made no sense without any of the context. And it was really cool, like coming across something and then going back to an older clip that I had seen completely meant something different now that I had this new info. Such a genius game. So great. And I'm really excited to go into telling lies.
Let me ask you, is it a game that you would sit down and play it with a girlfriend, boyfriend,
Yes,
wifey,
perfect
husband?
for that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to give that a try.
The more people you have, I would think, is the better, because you like start arguing with each other, you get theories going off. It's so great. And there's things
Wait.
that it's small details.
Wait,
you
you
have
said
to
there's a
pay
game I can actually get in an argument with my wife and have fun while yelling at each other? Because
Yes, it's amazing. It's great. Because there's like small details, like, but like you might notice like something is off. Like you might notice, oh hey, this is in the scene now for some reason. It wasn't in there like 2 minutes ago. I don't know what happened. Like she looked to the left in this clip. I don't know what that means. It's a lot of really small stuff like that, but you don't know anything about it whenever you go in. Like you don't know like why you have access to this database, but like all of it gets revealed.
okay, cool. I will pick that up.
I played
Awesome.
Control too, but we'll get to that in a second. I really love Control.
All right.
I reviewed a game this week.
Pull your mic a little closer. You break up a little bit.
I'm currently working on this review. It should be up by the time this episode goes live. But I reviewed the Dark Pictures Man of Medan, which I've been looking forward to for a while. This is the follow-up to Until Dawn. So for those of you unfamiliar with the Dark Pictures, this is a proposed anthology of like interactive horror games. They're going to do one every 6 months. Second one is already confirmed. They showed a teaser trailer like right after Man of Medan came out. It's due out in February. Man of Medan is not as good as Until Dawn, and I'm kind of disappointed in it. But what I do want to talk about with Man of Medan is the multiplayer, which is unlike anything I've ever played before. So traditionally in a game like Until Dawn, you would go through with there's 5 characters in this game, and you would like switch between them at certain points in the story, you know, make your choices or whatever. But in this game, you can play in movie night mode, which is up to 5 players locally, and you in the beginning of the game, you assign one character to everybody, and then you pass the controller around in between like areas of the game and in levels. But that's no different to like how everybody played Until Dawn. Like everybody just chilling around one screen. Shared story is the way I played it, and this is the online co-op mode, and it's only 2 players. The way this works is take control of one character, and then your friend gets control of another character, and they're like randomly assigned. And so you're both playing simultaneously, doing different things. Like in the beginning of the game it's centered around a diving trip that goes wrong, and you're on this boat with the 5 characters. And at one point, 2 of the characters were going to go down under the water with their gear and go dive, and 3 stayed on the boat. So like I stayed on the boat. My character was one of the ones that stayed, so I got to explore and have conversations on the boat while my friend was underwater looking at things. And we were experiencing different parts of the story, and like things start happening on the boat while they're underwater, but like my friend can't see it because he's underwater. He's like diving. So we're like trying to communicate, like, man, things are happening. Oh, what's going on? But it's really cool because like at one point there's like a fire, but it's not. It's like it's a fake out. It's just like a barbecue mishap. But like under the water, they see something happening on the boat. My friend's like, "What is happening? What's going on?" I'm like, "It's okay. Everything's fine." It's really cool. And there are certain moments where it'll put you like together in the same scene, but you have to like argue with each other. And the cool thing about the co-op online is that there are scenes that are exclusive to co-op. Like I went through and played some of it single player, and like there were parts that didn't happen because like you only control one character in single player, obviously. But like if 2 characters are having a conversation, your friend's going to get to control that character. So like you get more control over the story, I think. It also cuts the game like about half. It's only like half hours in co-op, where it's like 5 to 6 in single player, because you know you play the game at the same time. You're both doing each little half of it. But it's not that worth playing, I don't think, unless you're like really in it for the multiplayer, because the writing's really weak. I don't like any. There are 5 characters. I hate them all. Anytime someone died, I didn't really care. And people die a lot in this game. It's not like Until Dawn where it's like really easy. It's all quick time events, but like get a realistic amount of time to react. So like I lost a character to a bullet, and I could have dodged it by pressing triangle, but I had like a fraction of a second, and it caught me off guard. So I took the bullet and I died. I lost a character. But man, this game, it sounds promising, and the multiplayer is really the only thing that saves it. But like the rest of the game is not. It's only $30, so if you're into this kind of game, try it out. But if you're gonna play it by yourself, just skip it.
It was not on my radar, but I saw a lot of people talking about it and the whole horror themes. Like, I'm not really sure if that's my cup of tea.
Yeah, like the plot's really weak, but like there are moments where like you're just walking around this old abandoned ship, and like it messes with you, and it's like a psychological kind of thing, because like certain characters will see something, but it's like in their head sort of. So like if I'm playing online with my friend, I'm like, oh, did you see that? Like in the very beginning, it opens in like a World War II kind of setting, giving like backstory of what happened on this boat. And my friend's like, did you see that kid run down the hall? And I'm like, dude, there's no kid. What are you talking about? And I'm seeing different things. I'm like, did you see that guy with the sword? And I'm like, there's a guy there. What are you talking about? We thought it was glitching out at first, but it got really weird. It's interesting. It has interesting ideas, but if you're not really into this kind of game, you can say I wouldn't recommend it to any.
The question I have is, you said what is it going to be, like three total in the series, like the anthology?
Yeah,
overall?
I believe it's 3 so far.
So what do you? Because it's $30 for just this one. Do you think it's worth that price if they're going to be releasing 3?
Yes, because they're all standalone. It's a decent length. I was expecting to be a lot shorter, and plus you can replay it because of the different choices.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you don't like this kind of game, it's not worth it.
Gotcha. No, I was just wondering because like if it's gonna be $30 for each one, but you said it's only
they're
like
coming
5
every
to
6
6
months.
hours.
Yeah. The next one's due out in February, I think. It's called Little Hope. But like they're all gonna be different. Like this one is like on this ship and there's ghosts, but the next one looks to be more like a cabin in the woods kind of thing. So I'm curious to see. They're all gonna be different characters, different genres of horror, is what they said. So I'm excited to see where this goes. But this is not a good start.
It's like the video game version of American Horror Story, basically.
Yeah, and they do have like there's this guy called the Curator. He's in this library. And like in between every act of the game, he'll like, you'll go to his little library and he'll be like, you made 4 choices and stuff like that. And he's going to be like the storyteller for all these games. Yeah, not a strong start for the Dark Pictures anthology. My review should be out by the time this episode is live. You can check that out on the Outerhaven.net.
He's like, I'm working on it now. But so you said you don't recommend it if you're playing it by yourself. That's kind of sad, especially because it's a horror game.
Even the local movie night. Like just play it online.
To jump in, I've got it as well. It's definitely something you don't play alone. It is one of those ones that is much better as a co-op game. That if you're not really good with horror, yeah. So like some of the scenes in this are just absolutely fucking crazy. Like this is stuff. If you've watched horror movies like The Conjuring and stuff like that, this is that type of horror, sudden jump scares, things appearing out of nowhere, things changing into other things. It's like, yeah, this is not something you play alone unless you really got like balls of steel.
Oh, that sounds like me.
And I feel like if you're not going to play it online, then you probably just shouldn't, because the local co-op mode is really just player, but you pass the controller around. Yeah, and a lot of the scares work really well with the online scenario.
It's 2-player online.
Yeah, two online and then 2 to 5 local.
And with that, Diego, you officially have and will be the longest introduction to what games we've been playing.
Was that official? Did you time me?
We don't have to time you. It was over 10 minutes. You're number 1. It will be for
I like video games. What can I say?
Quite some time. All right. Since we're all here and we've all played Remedy's latest game, Control. I've been playing it on the PC. I think Rob has played on the PC. Diego, what are you playing it on?
PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4. And Karl, what are you playing on?
PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4. All right, so we have 2 PC gamers and 2 PlayStation 4 players. Pros or regular PlayStation?
I'm on Pro.
Karl?
Regular.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. So what do you all think about this game so far?
Different style of mechanics. It's got like scene transitions and stuff that reminds me of Fear. So the
it's a good name. Haven't heard in a while.
Yeah. And it's got a conspiracy storyline that really has me interested to keep playing all the way through. It's been a while since I've felt like I really need to complete a game, or at least complete the story. And yeah, this one's really sucking me in.
All right, fair enough. I think I'm also on the same page as you with that.
I will say regular PS4 owners don't get it, because this thing stutters and locks up like crazy on cutscenes.
So
I don't know why.
There's an issue with
scenes completely stop in the middle of playing for
it's
a few
the same
seconds.
on Pro.
Yeah, Remedy came out I think today and said that they are working on a patch for the consoles. From what I understand, the PlayStation 4 is hit worse than the Xbox. That's really weird. But yeah, people are complaining that the PlayStation 4 performance is terrible, which is not good. They are working on a patch. No idea when it will come. They also are giving us the ability to turn off motion blur, which should have been in there day one, because it sucks on the PC. I really hate it. I hate any game that has motion blur enabled. I hate it.
Yeah, it never looks good.
It never looks good. It gives me headaches. I don't like it. So to jump off what Karl said, it is also a game that has a very interesting story. Wasn't really sure what I thought about the lead character, Jessie, at first. As I played it, I got to like it. I kind of like where she was heading, and initially she went looking for her brother.
She seems very generic in the beginning.
Well, she seems so.
She's
like
blank slate.
Yeah, she's like a horse with the blinders on. I'm here for my brother, and then things start happening. Then she goes, "Hey, this is pretty cool. Hey, I like this." And then other times she's like, "Should I trust this person? Should I tell this person what the hell's going on?" And I'm like, just tell them. You're here. Just tell them. What are they going to do? You're the director. You're in charge of everything now. Just tell them what you want.
Kind of presents herself as an enigma too. I mean, that helps with like the bonkers script at the beginning, where they're doing like all of these like analogies to just like random stuff, like the whole like opening sequence, like panning in through the opening doors, and like you look at the director on the wall, like it didn't make sense. I mean, at first, obviously, it's just and that was pretty much the point. And I think her being a blank slate kind of, I don't know, it's like it's perfect at first because then they're gonna introduce what the world is like around you before you kind of figure out why exactly you're there. And it works to some effect. She definitely felt generic. I agree with that at that first like hour or two maybe. But then once you kind of really figure out, no spoilers, why she's actually there, then things start to make sense, and she actually becomes a lot more interesting to me. I mean, I'm not too far into it. I think I'm like 6 to 8 hours, maybe something like that.
You're halfway through. The game's not that long.
Yeah, what is it, like 10 to 15 hours, something?
There's
like
about
that.
14 hours, unless you do the side quests.
Yeah.
And the events that pop up.
Mm-hmm. Which I've been doing. I think they're fun, just because I enjoy the combat a lot in this game.
Yes.
Movement's just very fluid, which I love in a video game just in general, when you're able to move freely, really quickly, like kind of do what you want to do. And you feel like just generally powerful enough to handle things in like very like supernatural ways, and like the whole like force powers just in general super cool, like throwing stuff around is just very entertaining. And like I'm willing to go and do side quests now because they involve literally just like break a thing, kill a thing, do a thing to fix this thing, and it's just a ton of fun because the combat itself is just worth the experience.
What do you think about the service weapon and the janitor?
I like the service weapon. I think it's really cool. The whole design of it just in general is very interesting. Like the whole like just shape shifting, like little blocks move around and it becomes a completely different weapon. Like so far I've just got like the shatter and the spin. I don't know if there's any other ones yet, but
there's two more. You can get a charge and a pierce as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, but they're all super fun. I just picked up the spin and was fooling around with that. And the shatter's super cool because it's really powerful. You can just like rip through people.
It's like a shotgun.
Yeah. I like the service weapon a lot. I think it's very cool. And I enjoy it a lot. And all like the abilities that I've gotten so far are also like super cool. I love launch. It's awesome.
For some reason I swore I saw a weapon like that in another game, or maybe it was a movie, but every time I play the game, I'm like, I remember seeing something like this weapon somewhere else. But I'm in agreement as well. I love the fact that the gun just reconfigurates to whatever one you need. So you only have one weapon, but it has multi-purposes. I love that weapon. The force powers not the real name of them, but I really like those as well. And I love and it's probably cheesy, but the little, what do you call it? The informal videos that pop up from time to time talking about the game and the objects of power and things. Like, wow, that's actually over the top. They went the extra mile to relay that sense of this is happening in the world. This is actually something that actually happened. I really loved how they put the extra touch there with those.
Yeah, I enjoyed like that first like cutesy little object of power video with the floppy disk, where they're just like this is for Soviet nuke launch codes, and it's just like, look at how cool it is. It can make things move. We once picked up a cup. It was like it's just so cutesy and fun, but it's just like it's literally just like this all powerful like anthropomorphic being, but they're just like tossing it around like it's just some floppy disk that holds a couple of codes on it. I just thought it was super cute, and it's just like really interesting too.
Diego, you've been quiet here, sir. Gotta get you involved.
Yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Control, and put it simply, I am in love with this game. In my top 3 for this year, I think so. I'm putting it up there with Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, this year's got a lot of bangers. This is the game of the year Game of the year is going to be tough this year.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about a part of this game that a lot of people I feel are not giving enough attention to, and that's the collectibles. This is like the first game I've ever played where I am reading every single text document and watching every video, and like
even, the lore is amazing.
The calls that like the director Trench, the former director Trench, gives you, you can go in like to the hotline, which is like the phone thing, and like get an extended version of those conversations. I'm watching everything because I don't know if you guys know this, but Control is inspired by SCP. Do you guys know what SCP is?
Yep.
Yeah.
It
takes the objects of power are OOPs that they call them.
It takes place apparently in the same world.
Does it now?
Alan Wake can control the same world.
Oh yeah, but like SCP, it's like Censor, Secure, Contain, Protect. It's like this fictional collection of like stories, and it's like, but they're all formatted as like research documents and things like that. And the objects of power and control, they would be SCPs. And I think even like I think it's cool that the objects of power are where you get your powers from. Like the floppy disk is really cool. The safe is really cool that you get shield from.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I really like how they provide the full report for those objects. Like, I don't know, have you guys read the one about the safe yet?
No, I just got
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you read the document that you get with the safe, like there's some really cool stuff about it. Like apparently blood will seep out from like the safe door every now and then, but they don't know what it's from. And they X-ray it and they show something's inside, but like it's in constant motion, so it's always blurred. It's just like really cool stuff like that.
Loading screen is too? The red loading screen?
I don't know what that is yet, but like that's imagery that's come up a lot. So yeah. I'm hoping that gets explained.
Hey, what's up with the duck? I'm about to say the duck. What's up with the duck?
Yeah,
it's in a room and you can't get to it.
It's in this like room behind like really thick glass, and it just has the most menacing aura because it's just a rubber duck.
And you want to get to it.
Room.
And you want to get to it, and you can't
from the glass. And if you find the little audio log there, this lady's trying to communicate with the duck, and she's like, "Quack if you can hear me." There's one about the furnace too, because there's a side quest to go like burn trash in the furnace for the janitor, and a researcher thinks the furnace might be sentient. Apparently, hear it speaking to her, which I think is really cool. Like because I read a lot of SCP like things in my free time, and I really love that world. And I think it's cool that it's an SCP video game, and I love that.
I haven't found this duck. Where did you find the duck?
It's not like an object of power or anything, or it might be. But like,
it is, but you don't get to use it.
Yeah, it's not like a power thing.
Yeah,
it's just like environmental storytelling. But it's just I was enamored.
It's
by
in
the
research area when you're going down to what was that woman's name?
Forget her name, but it's in the research sector.
You know what? I found one for like a jukebox. Because I remember seeing another one where there's a jukebox in a soundproof room. But
no, the duck's going down to research room.
Yeah. I like how a lot of the collectibles like connect to each other too. Like I found a report for like this cowboy boot that caused like a lot of people to lose their hearing in a U.S. embassy, and then I later found an audio log of one of the researchers saying like debriefing people about it. It's really cool. There's like stories of these objects of power and like how they came into Federal Bureau of Control's like session, and it's really, really cool. I'm loving it a lot.
I gotta say, I'm glad that this game is doing as good as it's doing, because there were a lot of people, a lot of big personalities, and a lot of outlets writing this game off, saying that it's not going to do well. And it came out, and people can't stop talking about it. So, Remedy proved them all wrong. Thank you for that one. This is a great game.
Definitely a big thank you, because this fills the one problem I've had all year. A fresh new IP that's actually going to captivate and sell.
Yeah.
Like, how long have I been touting that one this year? And now, finally, new IP comes out, and everybody, like, there's 4 of us right now who have gotten a copy of it, and we're loving it to death.
Well, I mean, Remnant from the Ashes was actually a new IP, and that's actually pretty cool, too. You should try that.
Yeah, but you're the only one who plays that crap.
Nuh-uh.
I played it too. Control is miles better than Remnant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Remnant is fun.
Remnant is fun. Not Game of the Year material, but Remnant is fun, though.
And we got Astro Train. I keep saying, I love saying Astro Train because it's pissing people off now.
Astro Train.
See? No, he's going to say it.
No, because all I can think is like the scene out of Transformers where they're leaving the city after they've had their asses kicked in the movie.
But yeah, Control is a great game. I'm glad that Remedy has another hit on the hand. And we already know we're getting 2 DLCs or 2 expansions for it already. So that's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to see a sequel. Or I would love to see a new Alan Wake.
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna make one.
But they got the rights back, so we might. That'd be interesting to see.
I want to just mention, I love the subtlety in this game. Like from the jokes to just like the little hints like around the world that you can find, like just how like you can go into like when you first get to the whatever it's called, like the Plainview Motel or whatever, and when you first get to it and you're like oh okay, how do I get in there? And it's just literally just a sign there that says this is the switch that goes to the motel. The rule of threes applies here, and I just thought that was so cute. And it's like they have that little stuff like sprinkled throughout, like all the reports and stuff too. Like there was a report in there from some like there was like a complaint notice from one of the employees saying that the executive bathroom is always shifting, and they're so sick of having to go to the regular bathroom because they want to just use the one, but they have to go down another floor. It's just I love like the little subtle humor without. It's great.
Yeah, and then I could have swore when I was playing the other day. What was it? Is it Ocean View Hotel or something like that? Or I didn't know if it was like a recording that was playing in the background, or somebody was actually outside, but they were like, nobody's answering. Let's go to the other motel down the street or down the road. And I'm like, was there somebody outside? Because you can't leave that motel. You're stuck there. Well, you can't go out the door. You can only go through the portal.
Yeah, I tried ringing the thing, but again, nobody answers. Even your character is like, hey, anyone here? And nothing happens.
I think the objects of power and the altered world events they referencing, they're so fully realized and they all connect to each other. Everything in this building, the oldest house has a story. Even the oldest house itself, like they don't really understand what it is fully. And I love that kind of stuff. I highly encourage everybody to go read every collectible in this game. They're all
you definitely need to. You need to experience this game as long as possible.
Every document, every video, especially the videos with the researcher.
Darling, he's
hilarious. His name, I think.
Is it? No.
I think it's Darling.
Is it Darling?
Whatever his name is. I mean, watch the videos. They're so fascinating.
Yeah, they are. He does a great job. He's hilarious too. Especially the part he's like, "Geez, the password is 665," and it's like, dude, did you just get out the password? And he doesn't realize it, but in another recording, not him, another guy, I think it was a guy talking about the cowboy boot that caused people to lose their hearing. And he's talking, and he's like, wait, are you recording this?
Yeah, you still recording?
It's like, yeah.
Oh, good. I can't wait to go back and just explore and find more of these reports. And if you love the stuff in Control, I highly recommend to go read some files, because they're so great. Say again,
you broke up there.
If you're into the stuff in Control, I highly recommend you go out and read like SCP stuff. Especially like the IKEA. The IKEA is a great SCP one. It would fit right in home in Control. I feel like that's required reading if you enjoy that kind of stuff.
So I think we're all in agreement this game is easily Game of the Year material.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree. It's up there, but yeah, it's probably my second choice.
All right. Well, Remedy, you guys did a great job with this one. I'm glad you guys got a hit on your hand. We're gonna move on over to another topic. Karl, you get to take this one because you called it. I'm not sure if I'm happy about it, but that is Resident Evil, or should we say Project Resistance?
Pretty much basics behind this one is that thanks to a Twitter user who has way too much time on their hands, we found out about Project Resistance, which is going to be officially announced along with a teaser trailer at Tokyo Game Show in about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that. Which is the weekend of the 13th through the 17th. Again, I might have my dates crossed.
Doesn't matter.
All I know is I've got a friend going over there to Tokyo Game Show. I said, "You're now officially one of us. You must get content." So if I've got him on a mission to try and find anything about Project Resistance. But the site popped up, had very little information except for the teaser trailer dropping on the 9th of September, and the letters RE are in red, and anybody who's seen previous Resident Evil reveals know that they always highlight the RE in a title. So it's like, hey, it's Resident Evil! Yay!
It's Resident Evil, but it's not Resident Evil. Boo!
Yeah, so somebody was actually able to use a thumbnail grabber from the YouTube channel and was able to find 4 screenshots of what looks like stuff that's going to be in the teaser trailer. Mind you, it's just characters with weapons and stuff like that, like no actual gameplay. But from the looks of it, a lot of people are starting to say it looks like we're getting what is essentially going to be Resident Evil Outbreak 3.
No thanks, pass. I'm sorry, I was not a fan of that or any other Outbreaks. None of them. Sorry, I don't want it. Keep
Okay.
working on 8.
That's because like the original ones, Outbreak 1 and 2, were on the PlayStation 2. You couldn't really take full advantage of it unless you had a hard drive, which a lot of people didn't. And even more, you need to have a modem, which seemed to only come out in Japan, and that's where the servers were. And the communication methods was absolutely terrible. But now, with the way gaming works, headsets and microphones and controllers and stuff like that,
And rude people and toxicity and all that fun stuff.
Well, people are assholes. Get over it. It could be one of those things that because technology has evolved, that the game might actually be halfway decent this time. Hopefully. But we'll find it officially on September 9th what it actually looks like. But gameplay is going to be shown live on stage during Tokyo Game Show. So anybody who can find a stream, if they're streaming any of it,
They better
will
be
be able to see
streaming
what's
that.
going on. Otherwise, the gameplay is available at the show, but to residents of Japan only. They are going very anti the rest of the world with this one.
What the? Why would you do that?
Yeah, check. Like I posted it. If anybody goes over to the Outerhaven.net and checks on the announcement that we posted a couple of days ago,
No, I'm looking at it. I don't like it.
One of the screenshots actually says that the gameplay demo is available to residents of Japan only.
Yep.
So they don't want this getting out to Western media.
Which is bullshit. I'm sorry. This is what it says. Tokyo Game Show
It'll get
2019 attendees will be able to play Project Resistance by advanced registration. This opportunity is only available for residents of Japan. What? So if I go to the Tokyo Game Show and I live in the States and I go there either on assignment or just because I want to check it out, you're telling me because I don't live in Japan that I can't play it?
Correct.
Isn't that, I don't know, what's the word we're looking for? No, I'm not going to say it. I don't want to be that guy. But that's kind of
It's
wrong.
It's exclusionist.
It's completely wrong.
Rather than calling it that other name that we want to really call it. But you also got to remember that's just Japan. Japan is a very to themselves country. They still have shops over there that will not allow non-Japanese people in the door.
Imagine if we did that over here.
Yeah, well, again, Western culture versus Eastern culture is very different. But the fact that they're doing this, I think it's more to try and keep the media out. Like, there's a lot of places who go to Tokyo Game Show to report on news and everything else. I think Capcom just wants to keep this very internal at this stage.
Wow.
And it's easier to control the people in their own country and the media in their own country than it is to control worldwide media.
Go figure. It's a game show that attracts millions upon thousands upon people from across the globe to come check it out. But you only want to show it to Japanese people. That's just like if E3 was like, you know what? You're not from America. Get out.
Yeah, but Keith, remember how many
I know, but I'm just saying.
Videos and everything else comes out at E3 that nobody gets to see. How much stuff comes out at San Diego Comic-Con that they don't allow people to see outside of the actual convention.
But they don't stop you from coming from another country. That's what I'm saying. That just doesn't click with me, that's all.
Well, because they didn't confirm that it's like, because maybe the game, like is it a playable demo that's only restricted to?
It's a play from what.
It's a playable demo.
It's a playable demo. It's the same one the developers are going to show on stage. It'll be sort of like the Resident Evil 2 remake one where you get like maybe 5 minutes or something before it's cut off.
Gotcha. I don't know. I mean, yes, it's very odd, and I mean, it could easily just be that the way that they are, and that's totally understandable to some extent. But I mean, I guess if everybody else is going to get a video at least, and they're going to get like a solid reveal trailer, then I guess they have every right to do it, at least for now. I mean, who knows when the game's even going to come out? It's probably not going to come out till later next year.
I also find it weird that they're working on this and also this and either Resident Evil 8, which they haven't confirmed, but Resident Evil 3 remake, which has been confirmed. It's interesting. And I don't know how many teams they have that are working on Resident Evil games. And that worries me as well. Because as great as Resident Evil 2 remake was, I would love to see 3 in the same mode. But can they do that while splitting their resources?
Well, what else has Capcom got in production right now?
Monster
Hunter.
Yeah, and they've just released their latest pack for that, and that would have wrapped up programming, 2-3 months ago?
Nope, they're still working on it, and the
And I
PC
would
version
imagine
doesn't
they're
come out to
getting-
January.
Yeah,
they're still working on it.
Working on a sequel in the planning stages already.
And then they got
At the
Mega
end
Man
of-
Legacy they're working on as well.
Those games take that much though. They're just
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know if they're working on a brand new entire like Mega Man 12 kind of thing. I don't know how 11 did.
11 did great. They're supposed to give us some more news about that at Tokyo Game Show as well. But 11 did great.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
Oh yeah.
But like, I think it is Outbreak. Looks like Outbreak from the shots. And if you go to ResidentEvilOutbreak.com, it just says okay, which I believe the same thing happened to Resident Evil 2, the website before they announced the remake. I don't. They updated it to say okay, and this has happened before for some Resident Evil game. So
Where is this at? Where you
go to
where?
ResidentEvilOutbreak.com.
Okay.
Yeah, someone spotted this, and I'm looking at it right now. It just said it's a
Yeah.
white page. It just says okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Huh.
that pretty much confirms it's they're an Outbreak 3 or like a reboot of Outbreak or something Outbreak related. Like this is a multiplayer kind of thing.
Is this
not
website
a-
new? Or is it
This
new?
I think this has been up, but they revamped it because they're probably working on a new Outbreak project.
Easy way to check on that is good old Wayback Machine. So I'll do that while you guys continue to talk.
When do we-
You know
when do we
me,
see
I'm
this
not
coming
really
out?
sure, but we'll see.
Earliest probably mid next year. I can't imagine.
Oh, you think
it's-
so? Really?
I don't.
I was gonna say January.
Yeah, I mean,
That seems to be
Possibly.
Capcom's month. You know, like you had 2 come out
Well,
in January, Monster Hunter.
Take also into consideration that they're going to have a playable demo at a trade show already. I reckon this thing's at least 50% done. So you're going to be looking, what are we in? We're September now. I reckon probably about March, April next year.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Because they didn't have the playable demo for the Resident Evil 2 remake until about 4 or 5 months before they released it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out what happens at Tokyo Game Show. There's no way in hell Capcom's gonna be able to hide this. Somebody's gonna leak it or talk about it. So
This
yeah,
is getting out. Like expect news next.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
for-
remember-
I have friends who are residents of Japan that are going, so I am already like, hey, can you hide a camera on you or something? Get us footage. Get us
take one of your eyes
exclusives."
out, put a camera in.
Yeah, hey, you're Japanese. They can do it. in 10 minutes. It's all good. But yeah, hopefully there's going to be a lot more Tokyo Game Show besides this that we're going to be talking about in future episodes. But at the moment, hey, look, I'm up for anything Resident Evil. Like, I'm still riding the hype train of the remake.
Oh hell yeah!
And it's like, hey, anything more Resident Evil, as long as it's not an extension of 7, I'm happy.
Or 6. Or 6.
I actually like 6. 6, when you go and play it back, is not as bad as you think.
Well, I won't be playing it again. That's for sure. All right.
Yeah.
So some big news broke a couple days ago, and that was Yakuza 7 actually got a working title. It's no longer called Yakuza 7. However, we got to look at the new protagonists, and we got to look at the new combat system, which is actually interesting because it's going away from the 3D beat 'em up brawling style system, and it's going to a more turn-based combat system, and people are getting upset.
Final
Now-
Yakuza Fantasy 7.
But Sega gave us a look at this combat system back in April as a April's Fool's joke, which turned out to actually be gameplay from the actual game. Which is
Hey,
interesting.
that's happened before. Remember, Blizzard said, hey, as a joke, here's an expansion about pandas in World of Warcraft, and guess what happened?
Yep. Wait, did somebody just say what? Did you not know that?
What?
So for the April's Fool's joke from Sega.
No, I remember hearing about it, and I had no idea that it was going to be real, obviously. But
Yeah, I'll post it. I'll post it in there. So yeah, it was called Yakuza Online, It was the protagonist of 7 and everything. Everything. It was actually like 4 minutes of combat from the actual game. And after seeing that and being a fan of, I think this reminds me more of Persona 5. That combat system was actually pretty good. I'm actually looking forward to them changing up the system. Now, I had a couple of conversations with people online about this, and a lot of people are like, I don't like this change. Sega is trying to innovate the Yakuza series, and we've had beat 'em ups for all the Yakuzas, Judgment as well, and Fist of the North Star. And they all worked out fine, even though they may have gotten repetitive. I know Diego wants to say something. He's a big fan of these series as well, and I'll let him jump in here, but I do want to say that Sega has one of the best RPG design or game maker companies out there with Atlas as well, who made the combat system for Persona 5, which people have held to be amazing, which looks like to be incorporated into this. Now, they also mentioned that the combat system, even though it is turn-based, the city, it will continue to move as you're fighting. People will walk past you. Things will happen in the background as well. It won't be like a Final Fantasy where you just cut and the enemies are just there and just you and them. It's going to be revolving around a city, like you're actually fighting an actual city with people there. Just like how it is now in Yakuza, where people walking past you and watch you fight, but in a more traditional turn-based environment. So I'm looking forward to it.
So as an aside, because I don't really play Yakuza games, I am excited for the idea of glitches happening where pedestrians will walk through the fighting area and just kind of not pay attention to what's going on. Anyway.
I can't wait to see, like, get my hands on this game and just to have people going about their business in the streets and then just seeing 2 lines of Yakuza men in suits just taking turns hitting each other. It's going to be great.
What do you think about the impact system change?
If this gameplay system is to be believed, it looks like they're almost going a more comedic route with the gameplay. Like, it's really upping the hey, this is a turn-based almost RPG, and it's just like a lot of the techniques, like the girl I'm seeing in this April Fool's video does like the sexy pose, and the guy that's aimed at gets a blood nose and everything like that. I'm actually liking this. This is different, and yeah,
I'm on board. I'm completely on board. I can't wait for this. I'm even more excited for this game now because like I've played pretty much every Yakuza game out there, and in my Judgment review a couple months ago, the combat being the exact same thing that it's been since the first game is like one of the negatives. So I'm glad they're finally changing it up because you have Yakuza 0, then you have 1 through 6, and then you have Judgment. Then you have the other games like Fist of the North Star. They are the exact same video game with a different story. Like, this is going to be different. And Yakuza is a game where it's like, yeah, it's serious all the time, and they're going to have those serious melodramatic cutscenes, and they're going to be awesome. But like, there's some wacky stuff in Yakuza games. This feels right at home in this series for some reason. It feels like it fits perfectly. The right amount of crazy. I'm so excited. Yeah, I love it. A lot of people aren't as happy with it, but I feel like once they get their hands on it, it'll surprise some people. I'm liking it. And plus, it's like, this isn't really Yakuza 7. It just is in Japan, because the name over here in the States is Yakuza Like a Dragon, which Like a Dragon is the name in. So this is a reboot, pretty much. You got a new protagonist, new city, new combat genre. Like, this isn't even how it was before. This is a turn-based JRPG. This is a reboot of the Yakuza series.
Well, you're breaking up a little bit, but I wouldn't call it a reboot. It's just it's a new trilogy. They're going in a new direction, and
I don't know about trilogy considering Kiryu was in like 7 games.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a new saga.
Yeah, there are returning characters too. In the trailer, I spotted some of the side characters from Yakuza 6, which I think is really cool. I don't know if any of the main characters are going to be showing up, but it's a fresh start. A jumping on point, kind of like 0 was for the series whenever that came out 2 years ago, and that was great for Yakuza. It's like not a household name, but like people know what this series is and they love it now, as opposed to like the PS3 era. And I feel like this is going to be just another milestone for the series.
Oh yeah, like I said, with Sega having Atlas at the helm here, I'm pretty sure Atlas is like, you need to do this to make a good game like this.
Yeah, and trust me, compare it to Persona, and it does look a little bit like Persona, but I think they said it's going to be more Dragon Quest than Persona, which, I mean...
Well, they said the character likes Dragon Quest. He enjoys Dragon Quest. We won't know exactly until we see more. Hopefully, we see more at a Tokyo Game Show. Oh, yeah. But from the early video from April to the short bit of footage we've seen from the stream a couple days ago, they look very samey. Obviously, the one from April being a little more, maybe not actual gameplay, but a approximation of a gameplay versus what we just seen. It doesn't look that bad.
Yeah,
And from what they're saying, I'm enjoying it.
It's pretty much a JRPG already, just without turn-based combat. Like, you walk around the city, there are random encounters. It's just an RPG. Like, they're embracing it.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that. I think a lot of the people that are getting upset need to just wait for more stuff to come out, more footage to come out, and for people to actually get a hold of the game and actually talk about it. I like this.
Have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
I like a Coke, please.
Yeah,
But it's like, okay, yeah, this game's a bit different. So big. Games have to change and innovate if they're going to keep fresh. You can't put out the same game over and over and over and over and expect people to buy it. Hello, Madden and everything else under EA and 2K games. I like the idea. Like, with Yakuza, I find that the whole, oh my god, serious, style of storytelling, if this is a one-off, and they just do it as sort of like a side, well, like a main entry, like side story thing, where they get a bit wacky and do some stupid shit, I'm happy. It's different, and it's enough to sort of keep the fires going to keep playing Yakuza games.
And I think especially with the frequency these games out here in the West, because yeah, they came out normally in the PS3, but like once Zero came out in like January 2017, the series kind of exploded here in the West, and since then we've gotten Zero, we've gotten Kiwami, we've gotten Kiwami 2, we're getting 3, 4, and 5 remastered, we've gotten 6, we've gotten Judgment, and this is all in the span of like 2.5 years. A lot of people have played this entire series, all of these games with the exact same combat system in such a short period of time. They need to have something to shake it up.
Yeah,
this is a good move.
The innovation is going to be good for this series, I think. There's going to be people who won't like it because they're going to be like, "Oh, it's just a JRPG," when it's so more than that. They're going to miss out, and I feel bad. There's no way in hell Sega is going to let a series as good as the Yakuza series get trashed. They won't do that. They know this is a series that makes them a lot of money. I don't think they're going to be screwing this up anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually interested in playing it. I've never played a Yakuza game before in general.
Totally should.
But yeah, I've considered it before. I've read some of the stuff.
Well, you've got Kiwami 1 and 2.
Start with Zero
on the PC. And 0 on the PC. You've got the remaster coming out, which is 3, 4, and 5.
Already out.
I think not all of them are out though.
3 is out though. 3 came out the day they announced it, and then I got the physical, so I'm not gonna get them till.
Gotcha.
The only one that you won't be able to play unless you get a PlayStation. Wait, is 6 on 3 still, or
6 is out? It's on PS4 and PC, I believe.
Okay. No, not PC yet. I want it to be on PC.
Still not on PC?
No. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm primarily interested in this game just because I love turn-based combat. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is like one of the first games I ever played, and I just love that combat system in general. Like the whole idea of it's fun. So I'll probably be jumping in just because if it's going to be absurd and fun, like Dragon Quest can be, then I'll totally be in for it.
All the Yakuza games right now are the 3D brawling, and they're still fun. They're still a lot of fun.
Oh, sure.
I think this system is actually going to be not saying better is the wrong word. It's going to be interesting. How about that? It's going to be interesting, and I'll leave it at that. I think
it'll add some depth because, like, Yakuza games, after you get familiar with them, like even the deadliest of bosses are a joke. Combat gets really, really repetitive and dull after like the first few hours. I've gotten to the point where I just kind of zone out when I'm fighting bad guys in Yakuza. This should offer some strategy and depth because if they're making such a drastic change to this franchise, they know what they're doing, and I trust the studio after I've played all their games. Like, very talented.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to drop this. I don't think Sega's going to screw this up. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we know more at the Tokyo Game Show this year. Speaking of Tokyo Game Show and other games, that was a bad segue, I know. Gears of War 5 information. We got a bunch of information that came out a couple of days ago. And the first part is that Gears of War 5 is going to be like 20 hours long, which is good because when people started talking about this a couple months ago, I think around E3, people were concerned it was going to be a very short game. That does not seem to be the case. It's going to be also what did they say? It's going to be a game that's going to push the series in a new direction. As you know, Gears of War, the first trilogy, well, it wasn't really a trilogy though, because it was Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, and then Judgment came out, which everybody wants to forget about Judgment, right? And then the new one with 4, 5, and 6. 4 was actually really tame. It didn't really do anything different. 5, people were worried about it was going to be more of the same, but they're going a completely different direction. The game is going to be even longer. They've got a brand new engine under the hood they're working on. It's going to be performance-wise phenomenal from what they're saying and what I'm reading. What else? Oh, it's available for preload right now for Xbox One and PC. So if you have Ultimate Game Pass, you can preload it right now. Or if you purchase the Ultimate Edition, you can preload it right now, like I have. It is how big again, Karl? Did you say it was like 80 gigs?
60.
Okay, 60. That's smaller than 4. 4 was like 80 something gigs, 89 gigs. It was pretty big. So I'm glad that it's smaller. A lot of compression going in there. I am a big fan of the Gears of War series, and I am looking forward to this game, especially the fact that the story is taking a different direction. I know a lot of people were complaining about 4, saying the story was not that big of a deal, but they ended it with a cliffhanger. Have you guys played 4?
Oh.
Okay. 4 ended in a very weird ending. One of the protagonists in the game, and I'm going to say her name wrong. I keep saying Kat. Is it Kait? I always say her name wrong. In the end, she tried to save her mother. She was not able to save her mother, and her mother gave her a pendant. And at the end of the game, they show the pendant, and everybody's like, "Do you see that pendant?" And they're like, "Yeah, she got it from her mother." And they're like, "Yeah, but you know where that symbol came from?" And it's from the Swarm, the enemy that the Gears always fought. Meaning that her mother got it from somebody who was from the Swarm. Well, the mother got it from her grandmother. Well, the mother got it from her mother, which is Kat's grandmother. Which they're now saying that she was one of the queens of the Locusts or the Swarm. They call it Locusts in 4, but there's a Swarm. Now she's going back to find out where her family come from. And she's finding out all these weird things, like she can actually control some of the Swarm, and now people don't trust her. And apparently, she's going to usher in a new age of discord unless she finds out what's going on. So they're going into a complete different direction with the story, and I really like that, especially since I always loved the Gears of War universe. It's like the Mass Effect universe, where they're doing so much, and there's like a whole slate that they can just drop on you at any given time. But they really never did. Then they killed it with Andromeda. Hopefully the Coalition won't do that. I think I'm the only one here who's interested in this game. I feel bad.
I'm on the fence, Keith, and that's I don't know, because it's out in like what, a week, I think, for Ultimate. It's on the sleeve, right?
Yep, next week.
So I'm very behind on Gears of War. I didn't play 4. I didn't play 3. I barely remember 1 and 2. I have Game Pass. I have all these games. I can catch up, and I can get ready for 5. And it's 20 hours, right? 5. How long are the other ones traditionally? Like
4 is short. 4 is like 10, 11 hours.
So they're like, yeah, the average length games pretty much a little bit above average. 5 though, like I'm seeing a big narrative push, which I like. I saw the story trailer at Gamescom. That was cool. I like these new characters. They seem interesting, and I like that they're going for more open levels, and they're pushing this as like a different kind of Gears of War, which I'm interested in. I think it's worth me catching up and getting ready for 5.
4. Go 4. You don't have to play the older ones. 4 is his own game.
So I should start with 4 if I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I might be able to catch up for launch then.
1, 2, and 3 is good because you get to know about the main characters, but there's only one main character that made the crossover from 3 to 4. Everybody else is 3, but 2 are like sidekicks, Baird and Cole. Everybody else died.
Yeah, but this new trilogy, from what I understand, it's like primarily focusing on a new cast of characters, right?
Yeah. So that was the problem with 4. So 3 to 4 was supposed to be a new trilogy, focus on new people. There's 3 people, and they focus on them. But they brought back Marcus, who was one of the lead characters in Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, because he's big. He's a big name, and people don't want to forget him, so they roll him into the story. But I think going to 5, this is going to focus more on the female protagonist, and everybody else is going to be in the background. But I really doubt they're going to leave out some of the bigger pieces, because when you think Gears of War, you think of Marcus. He's been the face of Gears of War since the first one.
Yeah, I'm liking this shift towards a more like personal story, and I really hope that like they land the narrative here. But it's just not caught up, and there's so many other games coming out around that time. Like you got Borderlands 3 days after. I mean, Monster Hunter World Iceborne a few days before.
I'm not touching Iceborne. I'm sorry. Like you said, there's too many games. September is a bad month.
There are too many games.
September is a bad month. So, a lot of us here have been fans of the Telltale Games for quite some time, and we were dismayed when the company was going under and going out of business. And a lot of the games left Steam and GOG, likely never to be played again, while some games went to the Epic Game Store. Yes, I know. And now we're being told that the company's being revived, but it's not really a revival. It's more like a company bought the name and some assets, a company called LCG Entertainment. And I think several of the former employees are coming back.
Not that many. They're being
very
offered
few.
freelance roles with maybe full-time positions in the future, and that's just some of them.
Yeah, this doesn't sound good at all. This sounds very shady.
I am very against this. I don't like it.
And it's like they got bought by like there's a CEO who is like known for working at mobile games, I believe.
Yeah,
which is also
licensed
not really
mobile
a good
games.
sign. Yeah, it's a strange acquisition. I don't really know what to think of it other than negative thoughts.
It reminds me of when Infra Games bought out the Atari name just for the Atari name alone, and that was pretty much it. I don't like this. I was looking at some of the people talking about the contract, and I don't like it. I can't say if it's shade or not. I just don't like how it's being spun, where all these gaming sites are going, oh, it's a revival. And it's like, no, guys, this is not a revival. This is nowhere near a revival.
It's very similar to a certain game that they released, like a zombie.
It is a buyout and a gutted cast of employees.
So it just rubs me the wrong way because like they do have access to two of Telltale's licenses. They got Batman and they got the Wolf Among Us. And the way things are sounding, they're gonna finish Wolf Among Us season 2 because Telltale was originally planning to do that before they went under. But it's just so strange because they're gonna release Wolf Among Us season 2 as Telltale Games, but it's not them. Like it's the second season to a game they didn't make, but they're trying to pretend like it's they.
Yeah, it's
none of the original employees, and they're headquartered 400 miles away from the original place. Like they just stole the name. Like they're just wearing Telltale skin. I don't like this.
No, like I said, it's bad. It's a bad look, and I don't think the gaming personalities, a lot of them are doing their job and telling the actual story. They're just go, oh, they're back. Hey, they're back.
I think it's just because like Telltale's always been in the news for the past few years. Like it's always negative. So people just kind of zone it out a little bit.
No, you need to be telling the truth. This is negative as hell.
Yeah, but like it's people just aren't looking into it enough, and it's sad. And a lot of these headlines are very misleading, just saying they're back when they're clearly not.
Yeah, doesn't help that like the reactions between former workers who were offered to come back have been like skeptical, and like some are positive, some are negative. There are some people who are like, yeah, it's great. I'm welcoming being able to go work for Telltale again. And then there are other people who are like, I'm not working for freelance. This is ridiculous. Like, you know, it's just weird because there's two different opinions on it. People are actually positive about this acquisition and willing to go back and work for them, even though it's like this completely different management.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this pans out. And not even that. I mean, there's some licenses that they won't be getting back, like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, Skybound has those, right?
Yeah, Skybound has that. They're not getting it back. They're not going to let that go.
All they have is Batman, Wolf Among Us, and then like Telltale's original stuff.
Who has Back to the Future?
Not them, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as they finish Wolf Among Us, I guess that'll be good.
I don't even think I want them to finish it now because it's not the same people.
Yeah.
Like Wolf Among Us season 1 is some of Telltale's best work, and now Telltale's not going to make the season. It's going to be some other company headed by somebody who worked on mobile games.
Yeah. I also, if I recall, there was a statement put out by one of the two who are like head of the management there now, and they said something about like streamlining the workplace and like getting rid of the old structure of development that Telltale used to have, which I mean could mean anything, but it's just like it's very like an ominous.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted
to
to talk about with the whole Telltale thing is like they did an interview with Polygon, and one of the people who is heading the studio now said that they want to take a look at the episodic model and maybe make some changes to it. And there's a quote that I don't know how I feel about, and he said, I like the idea of binge watching. So Telltale games come out like one episode every few months, 5 to a season. How would we feel about the entire season dropping at once? And do we
just make a full game and call it a day?
Yeah, but like, do you think with the way that they operate that's like a viable business strategy?
No, not at all. Not at all. One of the biggest reasons why people love those games is because you got a bite-sized episode, and You got to play it, you got to savor it, you got to let it sink in, and then you waited and waited and waited for the anticipation of what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. Versus, oh, here are all the episodes at once. And it's like, okay, well, they're all here now. I'll play it when I get to it, I guess. There's no reason to run.
That's the thing. Like, this new model they're somewhat hinting at won't work. The old model didn't work. I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish here by relaunching Telltale.
The IP, it's just for the IPs. It's for the IPs and for the name. That's it. We saved Telltales. Okay, great. Positive spin. But you really didn't save it. You don't have some of the biggest games anymore because you don't have The Walking Dead, which A, is over, and B, Skybound has it now. You only have The Wolf Among Us and Batman.
Yeah, and those
and there's no
like
guarantee.
Other more popular ones, but like,
yeah, Batman's not that good. So
I just feel like if they get these series up and running again, they start releasing one episode at a time, the same way Telltale was doing it, where you have multiple series running concurrently, they're just going to go under again. Like that, I don't think that model works. That's many projects they're spread way too thin. I think it's going to be really interesting to see like what their first project is and how they're going to handle it. Maybe drop like 3 episodes and then like or something. Something needs to change.
Yeah, they got to prove themselves. I mean, in some way, it's just going to be weird because I feel like narratively the games are just going to be different. There's no way of getting around that. Whether it's going to be better or worse is to tell, but it's just going to be not the same thing that people will be expecting, which is also towards the negative end of this acquisition just in general. It's going to be different.
Hopefully they get more of the older employees, former employees. I don't know how that's going to work. Yeah, okay. Bittersweet news, I guess. I'll leave it at that. Bitter. Karl, you're up. This is the one you've been waiting for, buddy.
Time to talk about predatory practices in video games.
Don't hold back.
Well, I already had put a piece up on this on the Outerhaven.net when it was originally put out, and there's been people who have articulated it extremely well on the internet as well. Jim Sterling, Angry Joe both put out videos that are well worth a watch. It seems that while there has been this big debate all over the place about whether things like microtransactions, loot box, and other random mechanics are considered gambling and gaming, and most governments turned around and said, no, they're not, because you're not using actual physical currency. Now, all of a sudden, it seems that one game company in particular has decided, well, that's giving us carte blanche to go out and basically put a casino in a basketball video game. NBA 2K20 has a lot of what EA coined surprise mechanics in their latest video game, including a spin to win wheel, a pachinko machine, and a literal goddamn slot machine. All of this is a part of their main mode, which is the My Team thing, which is 2K's equivalent to the Ultimate Teams mode that EA likes to put out in every game. Except instead of just earning card packs and opening that, which is fair enough, card packs are a randomized thing, and it's just like doing trading cards in real life. That's fine. But no, in order to earn these things, as well as some of the higher tier characters, you literally have to gamble the in-game currency. And while the trailer that they put out made it look like it was this grand, amazing thing that they've done, that the top players are going to rain down from the sky, and you're going to get all these attributes and all these extra bits and pieces with every spin. The reality of it is you're barely going to see anybody that's notable. They actually had LeBron James sitting there trying to earn himself, and he did. They had a random YouTube guy who won Dominique Wilkins from the 90s Atlanta Hawks in a slot machine.
Slam dunk champion, better than Jordan. I said it.
Yeah, I'd say that's culpable. That being said, I love my 90s basketball, but it was definitely one of those things where you look at it and it's literally going, hey, here is literal gambling mechanics in the video game, and because the government doesn't call it gambling, we're putting it in there now because we're now 100% allowed to, and it's wrong. I'm sorry, these games are labeled like here in Australia, it's done as G for general audiences, whereas your US comparison is the E for everyone rating. It's basically big because it's the NBA game series and it's sports, it's basketball. Hey, let it open for everybody. No, these gambling mechanics mean that these games should be rated higher, but they are afraid to do it because it could affect game sales if all of a sudden, due to gambling, you have to put a more adult rating on the NBA 2K series.
So I'm gonna jump in here for a second. So a couple of people actually emailed to Peggy, and a lot of them got various emails, but they pretty much are the same thing. So I'm gonna read one of them. It says, "Dear sender, thank you for your email. We have seen the announcement trailer of NBA 2K20 and have noticed the controversy it has caused. We feel it is important to carefully explain when a certain content is triggering the gambler descriptor in the Peggy system, but also to show when it does not at this moment. A video game gets a gambling content descriptor if it contains movie images that encourage and or teach use of games of chance that are carried out as a traditional means of gambling." Now, I'm sorry, I watched the NBA trailer.
A goddamn slot machine.
Yes, being pulled, and the guy going, "Yes, I won!" And it's like, that does not show it. I don't understand that.
That is literally game. That is literally gambling. Slot machine, sitting in front of a slot machine, virtual currency or not, you are putting that in, you are taking that risk to try and get that high price. It is a literal gambling machine.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the rating is the main point of contention on this, and it should be the issue that brings it up, is that E for Everyone is designed, and I'm sure it's the same in Australia to some extent, but E for Everyone should be designed for anyone from 5 to 7 years old up to 50, 60, however old you are. It should not be, because this can be literally sold to children and people that it's these kinds of practices that are not good to learn at an early age, especially if you feel like you're winning a lot, because then you could easily end up getting a gambling addiction. You could easily walk into some random casino later on in your life with the money that you have, lose it all, and then be confused because you're so used to winning in a virtual space where you don't really have as many consequences, and then you bring it over into your real life, and then all of a sudden it's become this literal life-changing issue that can be completely negative, and people will normalize it to the point where they just think that it could work in real life too, and they'll try to go to the casino to get rich, and next thing you know, they're gonna be in deep crap. It's unacceptable, at least at the state of it is right now. I mean, other games have put it out like GTA, but GTA is not rated E.
GTA over here is rated R18+, meaning it's an adults-only video game.
Yeah, it's just the game that my son keeps going, "Hey, Daddy, can I play this game?" And I go, "Yeah, I don't think so."
No. See, that's the other thing, is that a lot of parents are just going to be like, "Oh, well, it's rated this, so I'm just going to let the kid play it." No. We need parents to be on guard for shit like this, because once this stuff becomes normalized and becomes ingrained in gaming, it's hard to dig it out. It started with the card packs that EA brought out for the Ultimate teams. Now, all of a sudden, loot boxes became a big thing with, Star Wars Battlefront and stuff like that, where they completely ripped off customers. And it got taken to, I know it got taken to UK courts, it's been taken to Australian courts. I believe the US have had something, the Federal Trade Commission or something's had a look into it. But all the results came back because you're not gambling with real money, that it wasn't considered gambling. And
yeah, bunch of bullcrap.
And then as soon as this is hit, and this is the thing, these reports saying that this stuff isn't gambling hit at the end of July. So not even 2 months later, we literally have a company walking out going, "We've got gambling in our E for Everyone basketball game, and there's nothing you can do about it." This is a big slap in the face to those governments and now to every consumer that they've got. And frankly, I pray that the reaction to this has been widespread. It is getting very, very well known. I've contacted the Australian Classifications Board about this, and I'm still waiting for an answer.
I was going to ask you, did you get an answer? That sucks.
I haven't yet, but I only did it late last week, so take anywhere up to 28 days for a reply. I know that a lot of people have been going to the ESRB over there in the States trying to get answers. As you said, there's people going to the PEGI classification in the UK, and while they're getting bullshit back, well, we now have evidence showing that the classification boards are not doing their jobs. We can now start taking this higher.
The only positive spin with this also is that it's not just EA doing it.
Yeah, this is now showing that it is gambling.
Widespread, yep.
And it is widespread in the gaming industry. And it is now seeping into games specifically designed for children. You got that, plus the statements from the PEGI agency. This is now stuff that can start being taken to local members of parliament and start getting pushed up the ranks. And I pray that people don't just sit on their ass and buy the game and go, oh well, it's no problems. No, get angry, write those letters, go speak to your local member of parliament. I actually know the office of my local member, and as soon as I get a letter back from the Australian Classification Board, I'm taking it straight to him and going, this is not enough. This is bullshit. This is something that needs to be done. Needs to be fixed.
Another thing that I wanted to mention, and something that was in the news relatively recently with the ESRB, was that the inclusion of in-game purchases or in-game transactions can be made under the ESRB rating. It also gives the general list of violence, language, that kind of thing. They also included I think it was in-game transactions or purchases was another one that they included in there, which I agree with. I think they should add something like that, but it also kind of brings up the issue of that being a little too vague, whereas this is quite literally gambling in its purest form. The trailer has a slot machine in it, so it's the issue that I think that brings up is that also the fact that if they're going to be adding this into a video game, it should be more than just in-game purchases, because it's not like you're buying a skin, you're buying the possibility of getting a better player, another skin,
you're
what
gambling.
have you. Yeah,
pure and simple. Call it what it is. You are gambling.
Exactly.
And while the trailer doesn't make it 100% clear, you can almost guarantee that there's going to be two versions of each of these gambling mechanics. There's going to be the one that you can use for your virtual currency that you earn in game. Then there's going to be the one that you use with the currency you buy.
The premium one.
The premium one.
Yeah.
And that's where that's where I find that they've just hit that snag where this is now gambling in its purest form. People are paying for currency to use in a slot machine. That is gambling.
The different distinction.
And no, it's no distinction. It's you are buying currency to use in a slot machine. Most casinos nowadays, I'm not too sure about the US. I know here in Australia, you take your money into the casino, you put it onto a card, so you're buying currency. You put that card into the slot machine, and you use that currency to play the slot machine. The exact same thing that 2K are doing in this game. One, because it's in a casino, is considered gambling. The other, because it's in a video game rated E for everybody, seems to be okay. I don't see a difference between the two factions.
Yeah, so I had seen a lot of outrage about this, but I had not watched the trailer until right now. And oh my god, this is actual gambling. Oh, I didn't know it was this bad.
They spend more time promoting the gambling mechanics than they do the actual basketball in the game.
Yeah,
but yet somehow it's fine.
Like a screen cap, it's especially predatory because I'm looking at this triple threat they're calling it, which is a slot machine, and it's if you win a certain amount of times, you get bonus rewards. On the front page, it says jackpot prizes available until a certain date. So there's also timed rewards. This is incredibly predatory. This is what is going on? I remember seeing last year that NBA 2K19's microtransactions were especially predatory, but this is literally a casino.
Yeah, the imagery in that trailer is so absurd.
It's almost satire. What is happening?
You got basketball in my casino simulator, essentially.
Pretty much.
Can you say somebody's getting paid for this? Can we go that far and just literally say that? If you're overlooking something that is very obvious.
I want 2K's books, because I swear to God, there's got to be some like backdoor transactions to politicians or something done now.
At this point,
this is almost fucking tinfoil hat, conspiracy theory that somebody in either the ESRB or in government has been bribed to allow this shit to happen. Because if they tried to do this shit in the 90s, when the ESRB started, for a fact they would have shut that shit down.
We're on agreement. Again, this is some really shady stuff, and we don't see how they're getting away with this. It doesn't make any sense.
No, not either. You raise the rating and you put something on the box to denote that there is literal gambling in this game. Like, going back to what Rob said about the in-game purchases thing on the ESRB rating, that's not enough. And with Crash Team Racing,
way too vague.
That wasn't on the box at launch. They added microtransactions in later with a patch. That game was on store shelves with egregious microtransactions, and it was not denoted anywhere. This is an actual casino. It needs to say gambling on the front cover, and this game needs to be rated M. Unbelievable.
Yep. No argument there.
I don't think there's going to be anybody who's going to argue that point.
Except for those working for the company saying, "Oh, well, no, we don't agree with you there. This is why." Anybody with rational sense outside of those organizations are going to realize that this is complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah, they're going to find some way to argue that it's no tangible loss of revenue for yourself if you try to buy something in a video game that's in a casino. But no, it's just a transaction. You opted in.
Surprise mechanics.
The fluff around it too, where it's time rewards. Oh, if you win a certain amount of things, you get this. New prize wheel. They know what they're doing. The little kids are going to be oh, it's fun, and then they're going to have a gambling edition.
They're also presenting it as something that's not going to be there for very long. So, of course, there's going to be the impulsive purchases.
Yeah,
people are going to be oh, I got to get this now.
Those are strategies that are used with regular microtransactions, but now they're pairing them with actual literal gambling.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I know 2K gets really bad with their sports games and microtransactions, but this crosses not just one. This crosses multiple lines.
It's a literal joke, at least to me. It's just the trailer is so
it's beyond a joke. This is beyond insulting.
It's almost like they're messing with us, because all these headlines are coming out oh, these governments are saying microtransactions are not gambling, loot boxes aren't gambling. So let's just put actual gambling in our basketball game.
Prove you wrong.
So it's not a basketball game anymore. It's actually a gambling game.
It's a casino game where you play some basketball in between slot rolls.
There we go.
Yeah, but it's Madden Ultimate Teams. That's where it all leads back to. Madden Ultimate Team was the original sort of gambling loot box card pack bullshit for the main mode. You look back at that and you look at how that spread to every single EA sports game. Now it's in everything. If this actually makes 2K money, they're going to start putting it in every single other game that they have.
You mean if?
When?
Yeah, when.
WWE 2K21's probably going to have slot machines in it.
Look at this way.
What else are they?
Basketball games are big games. Football and basketball games are huge games in the States. And we don't have any games from EA Live or from EA, right? NBA Live is God knows where. NBA 2K20 is the only basketball game coming out this year. And they're going to eat it up. It's not an if, it's when they make their money. And they're going to be making a lot of it. Oh, boy.
Almost half their, I think it's almost more than half at this time. All their revenue comes from microtransactions, right? More so than actual game sales.
Yeah, it was something 40% or getting near there.
Yeah, and it keeps rising. It's not, that sets a very scary precedent.
Pay $60 for the start of the game, then you got to make sure you buy that season pass. You got to get that DLC pass as well. Don't forget all the microtransaction and also the virtual currency that you need to unlock those microtransactions. And then you got to go and spin the wheel, make sure you get that spin every day, or else you're going to run into some problems.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's wrap it up. We're going close to 2 hours. Wow. Okay, time flies when you're having fun. All right, so let's try and do this outro quickly. Final thought, go.
Go play Control. There's no slot machines in it.
Go play Control. There's no slot machines in it.
Go play Control. Slot machines coming soon.
Oh, baby.
In a post-launch patch.
Yeah,
go play Control. It's one of the best original IPs of this year.
You can go gamble on the website. No, you can't.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening to the Spectator Mode Podcast. As always, you can check us out on audioboom.com. Just check for a Spectator Mode Podcast. Also on Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are. And from Karl, Rob, Diego, and myself, have a great evening or morning if you're on the other side of the world.